On your mark, set. No false starts. We're shooting out the blocks on the eve of the 19th World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Let's remind you that the home of champions, SportsMax, will have live coverage of the event through a dedicated channel on the app in 15 countries across the region. Viewers in Anguilla, Barbados, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Dominica, Guyana, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Turks and Caicos Islands can watch through the SportsMax app. Also in Trinidad and Tobago, you can watch on linear television via Biz TV. Already this week, we've previewed the jumps, throws, hurdles, the middle distance, and the relays. We're going full throttle now, looking at the sprints. And it's perfectly fitting that our in-house track and field analyst, Leighton Levy, joins us for this discussion. Leighton Levy, I know you've been waiting all week to get to this moment, and we are going to waste no time because the Caribbean wants to know who you have selected to win the women's 100 meters, and the Caribbean wants to know your top three. We've been talking about it all year, Leighton. You can't shy away from it anymore. You have to make a decision. Welcome to the show, by the way.
And it's good to be here, Ricardo, on a Friday afternoon, lads. Yeah, it's the eve of what I think many people across the region are looking forward to. The 100 meters and 200 meters are two events that, you know, get the blood boiling and gets people really excited. It's going to be an interesting year, I think, because there are so many variables this year as opposed to previous years when you knew that, for example, the Jamaican top three women were going to dominate the sprints. Not so this year. Elaine Thompson is a shadow of what we are used to seeing from her. Sheridan Fraser-Price comes into these championships with a knee injury where we really don't know what impact it will have on her in the championships. And we have Shericka Jackson, who is doing spectacular things this year and who many people expect to do great things at the championships. And so, to answer your question briefly, I think Shericka is going to win the 100 and the 200. And I think Sheridan Fraser-Price, because of her pedigree, will be second. I think third comes down between Sha'Carri Richardson, Julian Alfred, and Marie-José Talou. I'm going to go with Sha'Carri Richardson because of her consistency this year. So that's my top three in the women's 100, Shericka, Shelley, and Richardson.
All right, well, let's start there. Are you surprised? Track and Field News predicted that Marie-José Talou would win this. And let's state this, viewers, because I think this is a genuine four-way battle in the women's 100 meters. And depending on where you are from, that's likely how you are going to predict this event. I was slightly surprised that Track and Field News went with Talou, was even more surprised that they left Shericka Jackson out of the medals. Leighton, were you surprised that they had Shericka Jackson finishing in fourth position?
Stunned.
Well, he has to be.
Stunned. Track and Field News classifies themselves as the Bible of track and field. And I don't understand the rationale under which they would pick Talou to win. First of all, yeah, she's run well this year, 10.75 a couple of times, and she looked really impressive.
Yes.
Working with John Smith, she's a completely different athlete than she was 2 seasons ago. But how do you overlook a woman who has run 10.65, who ran 10.71 at the championships last year, and who has for the past 2 years been the second best female sprinter in the world behind Shelley Fraser-Price? Yes. I just don't get that. And then how do you overlook? Yeah, not, you know, we understand probably not picking Shelley to win because we all know about the issue that kept her out of competition for the better part of 3 months. So we really don't know what to expect from her. But to pick Talou to win is an outlier in every respect because she doesn't have the pedigree of winning at these championships.
But doesn't it speak to the unpredictability or, well, the supposed unpredictability of the event? And maybe to be fair to Track and Field News, right, Shericka Jackson has not won a 100 on the Diamond League circuit this year. Now, you and I may be looking at it a lot deeper. We know Stephen Francis. We know what he is capable of as a coach. We know how he generally goes about preparing his athletes. that type of information might be lost on someone outside of Jamaica who would be looking to predict an event like this.
It shouldn't with track and field news, though, because as Leighton just mentioned, they are the Bible of the sport, and I would think that they should know all of that.
Yeah, because they're familiar with Stephen Francis.
Yeah,
They've seen his athletes do over year in, year out for the last almost 30 years now. The reality is that Talou has been, outside of Shakara Richardson, probably the most impressive sprinter on the circuit this year.
Yeah.
But those are one-off races.
Yeah.
These are championships. You have to go through the rounds.
Yeah.
You have to battle against the best from the second round into the semifinals, into the finals. And what we've seen over the past few years is that, and we had this discussion earlier this year, Talou does well in the heats, and then she tends to fall short in the final.
But doesn't she have to learn, though, Leighton, and given that she's now with John Smith, who I think has gotten her stronger, more confident, and faster, she's probably more aware of what she needs to do and what she's capable of. That's the key thing for me. Her being aware of what she's capable of, so she doesn't have to go out there and run too hard in the opening rounds. But I guess we will see when action starts in the women's 100 meters.
And she's a lot more confident. I've seen a couple of interviews that she's done post-race this season. And the confidence that she's exuding now is not what she was doing before. So, of course, she goes in with a lot more belief. But as Mike Tyson says, you're a good boxer, you're a good fighter, but the true reaction comes when somebody punches you in the mouth. And I'm sure that when she comes up against a Shakara Richardson and maybe a Shelley or a Sharika in a heat or in a semi-final, and then feels the genuine speed, notwithstanding her own speed, she will probably say, oh, Lord, here we go. Because, look, we heard the interview that Sharika did yesterday. Yes. We saw her run 10:65 at the National Championships in June. She says she's faster. And based on what we saw last year, we use that as a base. We will see. My prediction is that Sharika is going to run somewhere between 10:61 and 10:58.
Okay.
Can Talou do that? Because she's going to have to run that to win. And that's why I think if the track and field news people were thinking about it the way I am, or a lot of people are, Talou would not be their winner here.
If Talou wins, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, I would be too. I mean,
if she medals?
If she medals, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
But if she wins, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I don't have her medaling, but if she medals, it wouldn't be a shock. But I don't have her medaling.
So for you, Lance, it's Sharika, Shelley, and Shakiri.
Yes,
SSS.
that's the top three.
Leighton, we don't have a lot of time apparently. The 200 meters, your top three. So you say you expect Sharika to win. Give me your top three, and I also want to know if you think Sharika will break the world record.
If she doesn't, she'll come close. But I think she'll win the 200. I think Gabby Thomas, healthy this time, 21.6 goes into these championships, the fastest time in the world this year. I think that bronze is going to come down between Shakara Richardson and Julian Alfred. And I worry, I penciled in Shakara Richardson only because this is Julian's first year on the circuit at the senior level. But I would not rule her out getting a bronze medal in the 200.
Are there people who think Julian is better placed to win a medal in the 100 than the 200?
Yeah, I'm one of those.
But you don't agree?
No, man, I think, look, Julian, in real terms, is a 10.75 sprinter this year.
Yes.
So
that's why I asked.
Yeah, but I think
you're positioning her in the 200, but you didn't name her in the 100.
No, I think she's going to be either fourth or fifth in the 100. It's going to be close at the line. I foresee.
What, you think she has a better medal shot at 200? Is what Lance is saying.
Yes, definitely does. Because she's strong, she's fast, and I think she'll run. If she runs anywhere in the region of 21.8 and 21.7, which I think she's capable of, she will definitely be among them.
And partly because the 200 field is not as
deep.
It's not as deep.
The 100 is really deep.
Yeah, the 100,
All right, let's talk about the men's 100, because if you're talking about deep, this is one of those fields. The defending champion is Fred Curley, and I saw a quote from Fred Curley today as we look at the CARICOM participants in this men's 100 meters. Fred Curley said, "This is my title. If Noah Lyles runs 9.65, which faster. Noah Lyles has said he will, I will run faster." Who would be your top three for the men's 100 meters, and will any Caribbean athlete figure among the medals here?
And Ricardo is asking this question against the background that he has already said on the show that one of 12 athletes could win.
Yeah, and
so he doesn't have a clue.
Yeah, I know. When I was thinking about this race, as Stephen Francis said it to me when I interviewed him during the trials, is that this is a wide open field. He says he's not worried, but he's concerned about Zarnell Hughes, but he doesn't know what Fred Curley is doing, and he feels like Ron Watson has an opportunity to be on the podium. Yes. And I'm not going to disagree with him. So my top three, I'm actually picking Zarnell Hughes to win this.
For real?
Right? Why? Because I think when he ran the 983, was it in late May or early June?
June.
Yeah.
Early June.
He said something that struck me. He said he hadn't even started speed work yet. And given what we've seen, what Glenn Mills has done with Bolt and Blake and Warren Weir, going into our championships, if you're starting speed work, if you haven't started speed work and you're running 983, it means that you're probably running 9.7 lows by now, right? So I'm picking him to win. I don't think Noah Lyles can run 9.65. I said it before and I say it again. He might believe it and Lance Brahman might believe it. I don't see it. So I'm picking him to come second. And
you're picking Noah Lyles to come second?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because I think he has better closing speed, however, because of his strength. And Curley has not been impressive this season.
We're not talking the 200 yet.
No,
but
do
you have Zarnell medaling in the 2?
No.
Okay.
Because that's still a big pick,
No.
To say that Noah Lyles is going to be second in the 100 meters is still a massive prediction as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, because I think what we've seen from him this season is the ability to close strong. And that he has improved upon. And I think, and this is where I'm a little bit fuzzy, but I think Ron Watson or Oblique Seville will finish third.
Wow.
You said it initially, and like Ricardo, I was a little startled, but when I think about how the race could unfold and the unpredictability of the race, it is possible that the fastest finisher could win based on how the race sets itself up, and Noah Lyles probably fits that bill.
But let me ask you guys a question. Doesn't that then set up perfectly for someone like a Rowan Watson? If he gets into that final, he has absolutely nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
From what I saw at the Nationals in Kingston, he was blazing over the last 30 meters.
Yep.
Everything coming out of the MVP camp is that this young man is right now better than he was at the Nationals. Yeah. I'm willing to go as far as to say, if this race requires 985 to win it, Rowan Watson will win it. If it requires 985 to medal, Rowan Watson will medal. I think he will run 985.
So what if it requires 970 to win?
Then he doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, okay. But I don't think...
Okay, I just wanted to be clear, yeah.
I honestly don't think there are that many people in the field who are capable of 9.7 this season. I haven't seen it.
Neither do I.
When you look at the field itself, the fastest time in the world this year is 9.83 by Zarnell Hughes. Yeah. In previous years, you're looking at people running 9.7s. I mean, Trevor Brummel last year ran a couple of 9.7s, and Fred Curley had a couple of 9.7s. I don't see anybody doing that this year. So I don't think, if anybody goes 9.7, it will most likely, to me, be Zarnell Hughes.
And I think one of the things we have got to look at quickly here is that Glenn Mills is a phenomenal coach. I know Usain Bolt is a phenomenal athlete, so Mills got a lot of attention because he was Bolt's coach. But he is a phenomenal coach, and he can produce a Zarnell Hughes foot to gold medal winning form in the 100 as well.
And when you look at the fact that Zarnell had a breakthrough there this year, 9.83, 19.7, that's times that he's never run before. And I think that breakthrough gives him something here that he probably never had before. And as we know, athletes prepare the same way for the most part, but it is here that you win the championships, the mentality going in. And I think Zarnell Hughes' confidence this year is probably like it's never been before, which is why I'm giving him the edge in the 100.
Yeah, and as you speak about Zarnell Hughes, and Lance, you speak about Glenn Mills as a coach, and just to point out the quality that you speak about, he coached Kim Collins to a world title. Of course, there was Bolt, there was Johan Blake, there was Warren Weir. He also had the Antiguan Daniel Bailey in his camp as well. But Oblique Seville, everything coming out of the racers camp before Oblique Seville got injured in May was that he was ahead of Zarnell Hughes.
Yes.
And so he's been fit for a few months now. Do you suspect, Leighton, that this man who was fourth at the World Championships last year, can get back to the type of shape to seriously push for a medal, especially given he's in that same camp.
Yeah, which is why I said Watson/Seville, because I think we know what Seville is capable of when he's healthy.
Yes.
We saw that 986 at the stadium last year, and I think all indications pointed to the fact that he was going to run faster at the national championships. It didn't happen. Yeah. Maybe he lost some of that base because of that injury that kept him out for a few weeks. So coming into the national championships, he wasn't ready yet to run as fast as Glenn Mills probably would have wanted him to. Yeah. With the extra month, that is very, very possible now, because, as we know, Glenn Mills knows how to prepare his athlete to peak at the right time. And I think that extra month since the national championships would have given Seville the time to be able to get to that level.
Yeah, my concern, and I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about it now with Seville, is that I'm not yet convinced that he is strong enough to go through 3 difficult rounds and run his fastest time.
Given the injury setback he had? Just generally?
Well, it has been, the concern has been increased because of the injury setback, but I probably would still have had the concern even without the injury, unless he dispelled that at the Nationals a few months ago, and I think the injury would have impacted.
But one of the things that I was told earlier this season was that he's actually a lot stronger now, because part of the background,
he can be stronger and still not strong enough.
Yeah, but I think based on some of the races that I saw him run this season, there are a couple of things that were improved. His start was better, and he was a lot stronger because his acceleration was better. So, given that he ran 10 flat at the national championships, and I'd say, it was 6 weeks, I think he may very well be ready to run 9/8.
All right, you heard it from Leighton Levy. We're going to take a break here on the SportsMax Zone, but when we return, we'll run through the 200 meters for men. Leighton will give his medal predictions, the 400s, and we'll give you an overall medal prediction for the English-speaking Caribbean, the CARICOM region.